anything. They just know when. Now, the crowd has changed a little bit since the days you guys. We got one side that just kind of wait and they kind of feel the game out, and then they get involved. In the old days, the whole thing used to be like, it is behind us.
Well, everything's changed about, not everything. A lot of things have changed. Bigger, better, all that good stuff. But, you know, you have a gym with, what, 30, I think they listed at 4,000 folks in the old kennel, probably closer to 3,500. Talk about a tough ticket. If you were in there, you were excited to be there. And it's definitely not quite as loud as the old kennel, that's for sure.
Andy Garland missing an easy one there, and then hits the more difficult shot through Rob Sacre.
That was a great offensive possession from Carrol College. They ran a UCLA cut to a side ball screen where they slipped it. Garland just couldn't make the first one. He threw up the second one, got it to go under defensive pressure from two guys.
Here's Landry. Boy, that's a nice rise out of him from the elbow.
You see Landry's now in the starting lineup here for the second half. Carter on the bench. We haven't heard word, but you have to think maybe twisted ankle or some kind of injury. Kind of odd for him not to be out here in the second half.
Yeah. Mark Few with Pangos, Harris, Landry, Sacre.
Right there.
Nice.
Over the knowing angles as a point guard. Throw it to that outside hand. Trust your big's going to seal it so that he'll catch the ball, go up for a finish.
And also, it's not just seeing that Rob's got his man sealed high, but what's the traffic like behind him? Is it open? Can the big go out there and make a simple catch and go up for the layup? Too often you see those high lows, and guys focus on whether or not the post has position and not what the defense is doing around the big.
Without a doubt, as a point guard, yeah, you might be able to thread the needle and make it look like you're a great passer, but if it doesn't give you an advantage to score and it leads to a double team or puts your big in a position where he can't score, then it's not the right play.
Let's see, this is always the challenge. You come out first, exhibition, first time in front of the fans, a lot of energy to start the game. How does this group, this young group, come out here in the second half? We're going to see that same type of intensity on the defensive end.
This is Wyrick. Threw up a bad pass there. And now Pangos in transition for Gonzaga, left wide open for three.
I love that. It's a great feel. Get the ball pushed up. Didn't like it over the top. Slightly change your angle. Defense goes away. You've got your nice little pull-up jump shot.
You know what gets unmentioned too often is you got Landry and Elias sprinting the floor on the far side. That forces the defense to collapse a bit to the rim, and that's going to open up that jump shot. And the best time to get those three-point looks is in transition. A great read from Pangos, and credit those other two guys for running the floor.
When you can get bigs to run the floor, it makes it so much easier for the guards to make decisions.
Sacre with the roll. Again, the entry pass from Pangos.
I like what I've seen from Kevin Pangos in the game, but especially to start the second half.
It's all about the feel in that position. And scoring is a bonus. That kid seems to have it all, Dan.
He's got a chance to be a good one.
Front of the rim there.
Maybe not the best shot. You don't have something initially in transition. Back it out and run some offense. Yeah, but just because it's open doesn't mean it's a good shot. You know, I always say if it's a shot you can get it just about at any time in the offense, it's probably not the best shot to take.
That's where I disagree. He just hit a three in transition. He's made a couple nice plays to get his other teammates shots. I'm a good shooter. I'm open. Yeah, there's 28 seconds on the clock. If I'm a shooter, I'm taking that shot.
I just, in transition, I'm a big fan of that, but if you don't have anything initially, I think those shots more often than not come back to bite you.
There's Diouf.
That's where you're a 7-footer. You want the ball on the block. I'm a guard. I want to let it fly.
Yeah, well said, well said.
Tell you what. Diouf can play basketball.
I was just going to say that. Great call. All over the place. You look at him in the first half. What jumps out at you is 5 rebounds last year, a little over 6 per game as a 6'3" guard. Only 3 points, but he's active defensively, getting out there, getting a steal in the first half. Really the only athlete Carroll College has that can play with GU for large stretches. He's put together quite a game.
Here's Harris. Lost the handle. And now he's bumped in a foul called here on Tony Dalton.
And a bit of a bailout right there. Poor entry feed inside. Elias needs to do a better job, and we've talked about it, Dan, leading up to tonight, is playing bigger. He's a strong kid, and I think too often he wants to rely on his athletic ability. Just give me the ball, and I'll go to work. I'll try to blow by guys. Work for some position. Make your life easier as an offensive player rather than catching the ball out at 17, 18 feet. Why not try to catch it at 13, 14 feet? It's going to make you a lot more effective around the rim.
Well, if you do your work early as a big, creating your space, now you're shooting a jump hook at 6, 7 feet versus catching it off the block and having to face it 13, 14 feet. As a guard, doing your work early means setting up the defender before you come off a screen, having your feet ready when you catch it so you can shoot it, pass it, drive it, whatever the case may be.
Janot driving. That shot was clipped by Zachary. Janot had no prayer getting that to the rim anyway.
Bad pass.
That is. And saved by Andy Garland.
Rob's doing an excellent job working to get position inside, and you want to get the ball into him. Make that extra pass. It's just an 8, 10-foot pass to the wing. Allow that next guy to get the ball inside. It's a much better angle, that elbow line extended pass, rather than trying to throw it over the top.
There's our first carry of the season. We'll see 4 or 5 of those before January, then we won't see it again. Tonight's play of the game brought to you by Supercuts. And this is Kevin Pangos, 3 of 6 from behind the arc. Get in, get confident. Visit one of 15 local Supercuts salons today. Supercuts, proud partner of the Gonzaga Bulldogs. We'll be right back. Formerly known as FSN Northwest. Well, I don't want to give away our trivia question for later, or the answer anyways, but better than 2 decades now he's been around these parts.
I think you just gave away the answer. There's only one that works with that comment. Well, let's see if the listeners are paying attention.
Let's see if they haven't tuned us out.
I don't think anyone's tuned us out with your great commentary tonight.
Thank you.
There's Jones.
Oh, that's a travel they got away with there.
It's an exhibition game, Dan.
Everybody's first time around, including the officials.
That's really strange for an NBA guy to point that out anyway.
I like the game to be called professionally and the right way.
Well, why did you play in the league then? Here's Pangos. Zachary.
Oh, I don't know.
There's interference.
That's a good call.
You think so?
That's a good call.
Let's take a look.
Let's take a look.
That's a bad call.
That is a bad call. I'll let you know when I'm wrong. I was wrong.
I got eagle eyes here, buddy.
You know what I like about that play, though? Kevin Pangos read the situation in transition. He had a chance to get to the basket. Took the great shot, the floater. That's a very important shot for a guard.
But also
Robert
opens things up with
followed it up.
Well, it opens things up. Anytime your guards, I'm a big believer in looking to attack that rim first. I think it helps set up your jump shot, but more than anything, it opens up the offensive glass. And with the kind of size Gonzaga has this year up front, with a guy like Landry, who's an athletic kid, aggressive on the offensive glass, you're gonna get a lot of easy points. And anytime you can, get those easy buckets, it's going to go a long way in those big games you play throughout the year as far as trying to come up with that W.
Well, a soft miss is better than a scrambled turnover.
Harris off the Garland miss. And now Pangos with a full head of steam. Here's Bell on the wing. Landry running down the rebound, and now Pangos sets up the offense. New shot clock.
Landry's doing a really good job being active in the second half. That last defensive possession, he really got after it and created some havoc on that wing. Then he tracks down the offensive rebound on this side.
Pangos missing the shot.
You talk about Landry. He's a lot like Spangler in the sense that as a wing player, not a lot of plays going to be called for him. I can see him coming off the pick and rolls as he turns it over right there.
I don't know if he's the guy you want to run plays for.
Right,
you want him to earn his bucket.
What I'm saying is he buys into that. He's a guy who's going to attack the offensive glass, a lot like an Earl Knight, Tony Skinner a few years ago. Is a nice play, kicking it back to Pangos. Offensive rebound.
Wow, great rebound and finish, Elias Harris.
Love to see a lot more of that all year long, but back to Landry. I think you got to have guys all over the floor who buy in that way, and he's a guy who, a lot like Spangler, doesn't need the ball to be effective.
I think they're going to try to get him a lot of minutes tonight because he has to sit out those first 8 games of the year. But I think he has a chance to really have an impact on this team.
Great pass. Zachary on the floor. 7 feet tall. The bigs at Gonzaga have always, oh, wait a minute, besides